Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be working with sewing and some embroidery, and I'm going to be working on this cutie right here. This is a pencil pouch, but you can also use it for any other storage purposes. It has a zipper, a lot of space, and it has elastic on the back that you can place on top of your book as a bookmarker. Yeah, so it has lots of uses. So I'm going to take you through the whole process step by step. So I can't wait to start, guys. So let's go at it. Guys, these are the items I'm going to be using for this project. First of all, the iron. The iron is our friend when it comes to sewing and crafting. So we're going to be doing a lot of pressing on this project. So you're going to need one, and then also a pressing pad, okay? Because of course you don't want to damage your table. So we need this. I'm going to be using a rotary cutter, but if you don't have rotary cutter for the fabric, you can use regular scissors. This one right here is for my fabric, and this one is for cutting paper. I'm going to be using a friction pen to mark the fabric. This one will disappear with heat. You don't need to have this one. You can use any kind of marking items that you use to mark your fabric. This is a fabric turner. It has a little pointy end, and when you want to turn things inside out, it's very useful. And these are the scissors. I showed this one in case you don't have a rotary cutter. You can use regular scissors. I use this beside my sewing machine in case I need to cut any thread or something like that. And this one is optional. This one I use at the end to trim my project to reduce the bulk. It has its little tiny teeth right here that give a nice shape at the end. This is optional. You don't have to have it. I have these scissors. I don't even know how many years, guys. These are very old scissors, and they cut like a charm. They are very nice, but this is optional right here, okay? We're going to be having the rulers. You need a ruler because this is going to help us to trim our fabric, okay? But this one is optional. You don't have to have that. This is a sticky stabilizer. This is also optional. If you're not going to work with the embroidery part, you don't need this. I'm using this to do the personalization. And I do the stabilizer sticky one so that I can just float the item on top of the hoop. But again, this is optional. I'm going to show you when I'm ready to do that part how to use this. These are wonder clips. This is going to be useful to make sure that you have a correct position for the fabric. If you don't have this one, you can use straight pins, okay? And this is the fabric. This is already cut up. I'm going to show you how to get to this point. The polka dots are going to be the lining, and this is the main fabric of the project. You're going to be needing elastic. This elastic is about 1/4 inch in width, but you can use any width that you prefer depending on what you're going to use the pouch for. This is 10 inches long. That's what you need, 10-inch long. Again, also is variable depending on the size of your notebook, because if your notebook is a smaller size, then you're going to measure the elastic to a shorter length, okay? So the one that I'm going to be using is 10 inches because I'm going to be using it for a regular notebook. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clear this out, and I'm going to start with the project, okay? So guys, see you in a little bit. Guys, I forgot to show you the queen of the party, my sewing machine. I'm going to be using my Singer Quantum Stylist 9960. If you have not seen my unboxing on this machine, go ahead and go to my previous video. I think it was either previous or one before that one where I do all the unboxing. It is an amazing sewing machine. It's been a game changer. I'm going to be also using my Brother NQ 1700E from Brother to do the embroidery part. Again, this is going to be the optional part if you want to personalize your item. Another item, and that's the zipper. I don't know how I forgot it, but I did. This is a 12-inch long zipper, and I'm going to adjust it to the size of the pouch, and I'm going to show you how to do it. If you have a 10-inch, it will work. I will show you how to manage to adjust it to the size of the pouch, all right? And it has to be a plastic zipper. You cannot do any metal because the sewing machine is not going to go through it. You're going to break the needle. You can damage your machine. So it has to be a plastic zipper. So guys, I'm back here at the work table, and I'm going to show you how to cut the fabric. Here's where we're going to be using the pressing pad. We're going to be using our iron. And the first thing that I always do is iron my fabric. Okay. So then after I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna show you how to cut the template. And for that, we're gonna be using a regular printing paper, a piece of printing paper. And I'm gonna be using either my lines on my mat ruler, or you can use your regular ruler and measure it. If you're gonna use the regular ruler because you don't have a mat, you get your ruler and you're gonna mark 4 inches from the longest part of your paper. You can use a pen, and I'm gonna mark the 4 inches, and then all you do is cut 4 inches in width, okay, on the paper. You just do the mark on your 4 inches, and then you just cut the piece of paper, okay, lengthwise, all right? But because I have my mat, all I do is I use my cutter, rotary cutter. This is the one that I use for paper, and I'm gonna place it here on the 4 inches mark on my mat. Use my ruler, line it on the 4 inches mark, up and down, okay? And cut off the piece of paper. Make sure you're in the correct measurement, so you have exactly 4 inches. That will give you the piece of template that you need, okay? Right here. And that's all I need. This is gonna be my template, okay? This you can save for later on if you need it, okay? So I'm done with that part. Then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pass a little, I'm gonna do it all over again. In this part, it got wet because of the steam. I have the steamer on. So I'm gonna just press it because it's kind of wet. Now it's a little bit drier, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place my fabric in whatever direction you have. If this is a directional fabric like this one is all facing down, then I'm gonna take that on consideration when I'm cutting my fabric. If it's non-directional, you don't have to worry about it. And that's gonna apply with your lining. Again, the lining goes inside. If this is directional lining, you have to pay attention to those things. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to cut the main part of the fabric. And I'm not going to repeat it with the lining because you're going to repeat the same step when it comes to the lining, same steps. So this is double up, fabric is double up. I'm going to place the template right here. You can either use pins to pin it, or you can use the weights. I have some weights that I'm going to be using. Just to keep it in place. Again, if you don't have weights, you can just pin it. And then I cut it all around, okay? And now I'm gonna use my fabric cutter. So you can either do this, all right? And if you are afraid that you're gonna cut the piece of paper, don't use the weight at all. I'm just giving you all the options that you have, okay? And then use your ruler. I'm gonna use this big ruler because it covers more areas. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the top. So I'm gonna just be cutting around. If you don't use a rotary cutter, use your scissors. If you're gonna use your scissors, then you have to pin it, okay? So it doesn't get off the area, okay? Cut on the top. right? You're gonna repeat the same thing at the bottom. The thing with using the ruler is that sometimes, you know, the paper is gonna move when you remove the ruler. You're gonna go ahead and people, this is just a simple project. You don't have to be 100,000% exact, okay? More or less 4 inches, all right? You see how you fly away? So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my weights. I'm used to my weights. But you know, you have that option of using the ruler to be more exact, like I said before. All right. So it makes it easier to use the fabric weights. You have this in place right here, and we are done. And then this piece is ready. And like I said before, you're gonna repeat the same thing with the lining. Okay, same step. Now it doesn't end here, people. So we ended up with a piece of fabric that is 4 by 16 and a half. Okay, 4 by 16 and a half. That's the measurement of the you know, you, like I said, if you want to make this smaller, you make it smaller. You cut a smaller piece of fabric. If you know, it could be 3 inches. If you want it wider, then you can add the width that you want. Now, if you make it wider, make sure that then the elastic that you're gonna use is gonna be a little bit wider too, because you don't want a very thin elastic with a big bag. Okay, so that's why I made it 4 inches. All right, so once you have this is the way you're gonna end up with your fabric, okay? I already show you how to cut it and how to make the template. This is what you're gonna end up having. You're gonna end up having these pieces of fabric right here, okay? The main fabric. Now, let's go back to the piece of fabric. I'm gonna work now with the main, and again, everything I do to the main fabric, you're gonna repeat to the lining, okay? So once you have this, okay, you're gonna separate one of them. You're gonna separate it. You're gonna put it apart, and you're gonna just be working with this piece alone. We're gonna work with this piece of fabric. Now I'm gonna cut it to measure 2 inches. In other words, I'm gonna cut it in half. Again, you can use your cutting table, get your ruler, measure 2 inches, okay? Because this is a 4, it's easy. All you have to do is place on the 2 inches and cut it in half, okay? That's all you have to do. Or what you can do also, I go ahead and split it in half, because this is 4 inches, exactly in half, finger press, and iron it in half, okay? And I just iron it in half. I already measured the 2 inches in there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to open it. Place my ruler, that's my half. And then I'm gonna cut it in half, okay? So you have now 2 pieces, okay, of fabric, okay? Each one measuring 2 inches, all right? So you're gonna end up doing that for the lining as well. I'm gonna show you how it looks on my fabric that I already pre-cut it. I have 2 pieces of this, and I have these 2 pieces, okay? So these two pieces used to measure 4 inches. Now I have two pieces. This is the lining. It used to be 4 inches. Now I have two. Okay. So you're gonna end up having two pieces, and the main with the lining. Okay. All right, guys. So now that I show you how to cut the template, it's very simple, and we're gonna get started, guys, with the whole project. Let's get started. So we are going to be working with the zipper. This is a 12-inch zipper. You can also use a zipper tape. If you are a sewer, you know what I'm talking about. It comes just with the piece like this, and then you install the hardware. I decided to use this regular zipper because most people this is what they have. You can use 10-inch and up because you're gonna trim it anyway. If you use less than 10 inches, it's gonna be too short for this measurement. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place the main piece of the project right here, and I'm gonna place the zipper facing down. Okay, on top of the fabric on the lower edge right here. And then I'm gonna pick the piece that is the lining and I'm gonna place it on top, all right? Make sure that are aligned, all right? You can either use straight pins or you can use your clips. I'm gonna be using my clips, all right? And just clip it together, okay? Take your time. There's no rush. If you're new at installing zippers like this, there is no rush, okay? Just make sure that everything is nice and aligned. Just reposition it. Take your time, okay? Okay, so this is finished. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the sewing machine and we're gonna sew this part right here using my zipper pressing foot on the sewing machine, okay? And we're gonna do this later on. This is the same thing. We're gonna repeat it on the other side, all right? So I'll see you at the sewing machine. So I already installed my presser foot for zippers. This one installed easy, and you either choose your left side or your right side. I use my left side because I'm gonna be placing the zipper facing this way. All the sewing machines, for those who are new to sewing, come with a zipper foot. Don't use your regular foot because it's gonna be very difficult to install a zipper using this regular foot, okay, sewing foot, all right? So this is the way I'm gonna be placing it. That's why I decided to use this side. It's gonna be running this way, okay? All right, so I'm gonna get started. So make sure that the foot is close to the zipper, all right? So I'm gonna remove this, all the clips. If you're interested in knowing how to make this storage pod, I said storage pod, storage bag, I have a whole tutorial to show you how to make this, okay? And I personalize it with my nickname right here, right? So if you're interested, go ahead to my channel and look for this one. It's in the beginning of my video library. You're gonna find it real easily, all right? All right, so let's do this. You don't need to go back and forth on this one because we're gonna be sewing on top of the stitching. Okay. All right. We're gonna iron this, okay? Before you iron this, you're gonna go ahead and finger press this side. I mean, if you don't want to iron, guys, you don't have to iron. I iron all my pieces when I'm sewing. because I found that the end product looks much better. So you just finger press, and then we're gonna go back to press this, okay? And I'm gonna show you how to do it. Okay, again, like I was telling you before, and then you're gonna take it to the mat, because you don't want to mess up your table. And make sure that you stretch this fabric to meet the other one, okay? Because you want to be at the same length. Right here, you're gonna move it out and press it, okay? Try not to touch the plastic teeth of the zipper. You know, you can touch it just fast, okay? Because remember, it's plastic and it can melt. You don't want it to melt, all right? You're gonna find out how easy it makes it when you are continue with the project, when it's nice and pressed down, okay? All these little pieces of shedding of the fabric, okay? I tend to push it out to make sure that everything is, you know, nice and pressed, right? And this is what you're gonna end up. You notice right here, it's not meeting. I'm just gonna press it back from the edge, press it out, all right? At the end, if it doesn't meet, don't worry much, because we're gonna trim it. We end up trimming it later on, okay? All right, guys, so let's go back to the sewing. I'm gonna show you what is the next step. Remember, all these steps that I'm doing here is gonna be repeated on the other side, all right? Exactly the same way, okay? We are back, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna top stitch very closely. I would say like 1/8 of an inch on the top, just to keep it in place. If you notice, I have not changed my presser foot because I'm gonna need it for the other side. So keep your zipper foot and just, you know, use it. If you don't feel comfortable doing it with a presser foot and you need your 1/4 inch, go ahead and do it. You know, you can switch back and forth. In my case, I don't need to do it. Take your time. It's gonna be just a nice top stitch. And I forgot to mention that I'm using white thread on this fabric, top and bottom, meaning the bottom and the main thread on the top. It's a white color thread. And I'm going slowly for those who are not sewing, okay? You see, I'm taking my time. And then you're gonna stop here, lift the needle down, pivot, and continue sewing all the way around. That's what I'm gonna be doing, okay? Stop here, pivot, and repeat the same thing going down, okay? So it's only just 1/8 of an inch, okay? Enough to keep these two pieces together. We're gonna need it to be together moving forward, okay? Stop. If you notice that it moved, stop, reposition, and keep sewing. Stop, pivot, and close up. Again, don't worry about going back and forth. When I mean back and forth, is pressing the back up, like usually you do when you start sewing, and then going forward. Don't do it because we're gonna trim this at the end when we trim the zipper, okay? So this part is done, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to work with the positioning on the other side. Okay guys, so I'm done with this already, and I'm making sure again, my throat is bothering, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm making sure that everything is aligned. You need to reposition it again. Go ahead and do it as many times as it takes, because you want to make sure that the zipper is in the correct place. Okay. So I reposition again. So that's done. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that I did on the other side. I'm going to be doing on this side, and I'm going to run the fast forward. All right. So if you notice, it's going to look this way. Okay. So let's go at it, guys. Okay, so again, I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to see you at the end when this is nice and pressed. All right. Okay, guys, so this is nice and pressed, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did before. We are back here at the table. We're going to follow in the next step, and the next step is to trim this. Let me get my cutter. We don't need this part right here because we're going to be installing the elastic and closing the pouch. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to trim this part. Now guys, make sure that once you do this, do not run the zipper all the way out, because you lost the whole thing. I mean, you can fix it, but it's going to be complicated. And the same thing, I'm going to trim at the top. Same thing. We're going to move this hardware of the zipper down, okay, to the middle, around this place, and we're going to trim it, okay? I'm going to make it a little bit closer to make it easier for me for now. But we're going to trim this part, okay? All right, so now we're going to place the elastic. Now, what I do is that either I go to the sewing machine and make a couple of stitches in here to close and make it easier for me, or I place a piece of tape. It's up to you, depending on how used you are working with zippers. I find that placing a piece of tape works for me. Just a little piece. Just a little piece of tape. This happened to be my heat resistant tape, but because it's easier for me to remove. I just want to make sure that these two parts are not going to go like this when I try to sew on top of it. Okay, that is an optional step. You don't have to do it. You can get it to do it without the two parts separating. That's just me. Okay, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my elastic and I'm going to place it. I'm going to lower this now. Place it here. Okay, one in here. And make sure when you do that, that the elastic doesn't shift and end up in here, because it happened to me in the first pouch that I did, and it was like that, you know? So you make sure that it's in the middle, right on top of the zipper. Okay. Either fasten it with your straight pin, which is going to be difficult because you're going to hit the zipper teeth. That's why I like these wonder clips, make things easier. And then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And then you're going to keep it that way. You're going to go ahead and open the zipper like that in the middle. Just leave the zipper open. It's going to help us later on when we're going to turn the project inside out at the end. Make sure that the zipper is halfway open, okay? Right? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to enclose this with the second part of the fabric. We're going to place pretty side together ugly side facing you, okay? And make sure that the elastic stay in the middle. That it's not like that when you sew in, you might grab the elastic by mistake. Make sure that it keeps in the middle, okay? This is a very easy and fast project to do. It is taking longer for me because I'm doing the tutorial and I'm taking my time explaining all the steps, but it's very easy. Now, if you notice, like here, this is gonna tend to be bigger. You know why? Because we went through the sewing. So, you know, it took part of the fabric. So if it's not the same, all you have to do, people, is just trim it. Just trim it to size, okay? That's all you have to do. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sew this all the way around, okay? All right, if you notice, what we're doing is we are enclosing the pouch inside, okay? The whole thing. And for that, I'm gonna go ahead again, use my wonder clips and make sure that it's nice and together here. Okay guys, so I am ready. I'm gonna run to the sewing machine, okay? This is the pretty side. This is the open side of the zipper. I'll be right back, okay? So let's get started. First of all, I'm gonna switch my foot, my presser foot, from the zipper foot. You have this one, or you can also use a 1/4 inch. There's one specific that is a 1/4 inch because we're gonna be sewing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you can use either one, okay? But this is the basic one that comes with the sewing machine. All right, so let's get started, guys. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna be working not from this side that has the zipper. I'm gonna be working from the main fabric side, okay? Now on this one, you're gonna be running it back and forth, meaning you're gonna go backwards to secure the stitching, okay? Then we're gonna continue, okay? And we're gonna run a stitch all around it. We're gonna enclose the whole thing, okay? So now we're gonna be working on this side and meet you at the working table. For this part, we're gonna be working now with the lining. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to put my label. It's a little bit too late. I usually place my label in here, but that's okay. No worries. I wanted to show you how to do it if you are gonna be using your own label. Before you finish this, you're gonna go ahead and, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna undo this part and I'm gonna place the label inside and I'm gonna tell you how to correct this. Okay, be right back. So to correct that, I just open it with a Zim Ripper and place it inside. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and stitch it again and I'll be right back, okay? So I am done and I decided to show you this part of the video so that you know that in sewing, when you're sewing, it's easier to correct stuff. For the most part, it's easy. It's done, guys. Because it's sewing, you know, you can work around it, all right? So that's why I decided to include this part on the video so that you can know. So my label is already in, nice and neat. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn this to the lining part and we're going to place this lining part pretty side together, ugly side facing you, okay? All right. Same thing with this. If you need to trim it, trim it. Remember that we are working with the part that is already completed and the part that is raw that we haven't touched. So we're going to go ahead and trim the excess. Okay. On this template, seam allowances are already included. That's why you didn't see me marking seam allowances. Same thing is going to happen if you decide to make it smaller. The seam allowance is going to be included. So we're going to go ahead and trim. This part, we're going to turn it around and we're going to go to the zipper part and we're going to do the same thing using the lining fabric. Pretty side to pretty side, we're going to enclose this. Okay. Before I use the wonder clips, I'm going to turn it around because we're going to be sewing on this main fabric part. Okay. Very important that when you sew this part, you're going to be placing a stitching all the way around using the previous stitching that we did. Very important, okay? If you do it more inside, it's okay. It's not going to show. But if you happen to sew on the top, this previous stitching, when you turn the project inside out, you're going to be able to see it. So in order for that not to happen, you make sure that you follow the same guide of the previous stitching that we did all the way around. Okay, all the way around. Now, very important also, we're going to be marking on this side an opening space, and I usually do 3 fingers. I'm going to use in my marker, erases with heat, about 3 fingers, depending also how big of the hole you want. But usually 3 fingers, 3.5 fingers is good to me. Even though I do this, guys, I tend to forget because I get involved in sewing and I keep going, but it helps to remember most of the time, in my case, okay? So you're gonna be marking that, okay? Make sure that everything is nice and square. If you see that there's a little bit of fabric that doesn't match, it doesn't matter because we're going to trim at the end again, okay? Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and use our wonder clips or your straight pins to do this part, okay? I'll see you at the end when I'm done. We are here at the sewing table and we are almost done with this project, guys. All right, we're gonna start sewing starting from my marking. Remember to follow the same previous stitching around as much as you can. All right, and then we're gonna be stopping here. Hopefully I will remember to do that. Let's see. All right, so let's get started, guys, and I'm gonna be running this on fast mode. Okay. And it's very important that you do the back and forth here because you don't want this to come apart when you turn it in. And I don't remember if I did it on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do another stitching just to make sure that I did it. I don't remember, guys. Yeah, okay, just to make sure, because when you're turning inside out and you do the opening, it can come apart, okay? So now I'm gonna be moving to the working table and we're gonna finish this up, okay? So I was recording and for some reason the camera stopped when I was doing this part. I'm very upset about it, but I'm gonna explain it again to you guys. So with your regular scissors, you're gonna cut corners, and this is just to reduce the bulk because we're gonna turn this inside out. And you wanna make sure that the corners are gonna be nice and trim. You're not gonna be cutting on the sewing part. You're gonna be cutting above, because okay, you're not gonna touch these stitchings at all, right? So all I'm doing is just releasing the bulk, especially this zipper part. I'm gonna reduce it more. If you notice, I use my trimming scissors. I keep forgetting the name of this kind of scissors, but you use it to reduce your bulk and to also help you when you turn inside out the garment or whatever you're sewing. It makes a smooth turning inside out. It's not bulky. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna trim a little because I already started doing when I just decided to check the camera and it wasn't recording, okay? Again, you're not cutting the stitching, just doing like that, okay? And I'm gonna do it on this side, all right? This is where the zipper is, so I'm gonna take it slowly because I don't want to cut the stitchings. Again, this part is optional. You don't need to do this part. The ones that you need to do is just the corner with a regular scissor. Just cut your corners, okay? And we're gonna be using the tool that I use to push in the corners once you turn in the garment inside out. Okay, so let me just clean this mess because you know, guys, that I don't like working with messes. So yeah, let me check the camera again because yeah, this is the crucial part and I don't want to miss it, guys. So we're gonna be turning this inside out. We're gonna be opening this from the part that is the lining, and slowly but surely you're gonna be turning it around. Take your time, okay? Just take your time. No stress whatsoever. It'll come out. If you're using like a thicker fabric to do this project, then maybe you want to leave more space. But because this is a thin fabric, it's cotton, it's easy. You just have to take your time because it's no stress. Okay. It's coming out, it's coming out. This one, I am not going to personalize. In other words, I'm not going to be embroidering this one. Okay, so now we are inside out in here. And this is the part that I told you that we had to like push in to make sure that the corners are out completely on this part in here. Okay. This is the lining section. Remember, this is not the main fabric. This is the lining section. So for the lining section, make sure that you use something that have a point, not the point of the scissors, because the point of the scissors will break it. I have this one and I have this other one. I'm going to show you. Okay. This other one also works fine. You're just gonna keep pushing until you get it the way you want it. You notice this is the hole right here where we left it open to turn it inside out. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this part out. You will normally, when you pull it, it will tend to want to go in. You're gonna conceal this part. I tried doing it sewing with a sewing machine, but in this case, because the lining is so close to the main part, when I did that, it tends to dip a little bit in there. So it's better if you do like a regular sewing stitch. You're gonna hand sew this, okay? And you can do a regular stitch or an invisible stitch, okay? And you're gonna close all this up, and it's gonna look better to do it by hand than to do it with the sewing machine. My experience has been like that. Guys, so I'm gonna see you at the end once I'm done with this hand sewing. All right, if you do the regular stitch and and you don't like it, don't worry much because this is the lining. It's not like people are gonna say, oh my god, this is an ugly work. Unless you're gonna sell it, and if you're gonna sell it, then make sure that you have a good invisible stitching in here. Okay, so I'll see you back when I'm done with this part. All right, so I am done sewing the invisible stitching. Where was it? Right here. Okay, so now we're gonna finish turning this all the way around. This was where the opening was, okay? You see how nice and straight? I prefer it to be this way. And then you're gonna make sure that you have everything. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the fabric turner again because I think I can do better, a little bit better on this corner. Okay, so now we're gonna continue using this opening now, turning this inside out. And remember the tape that you used to hold the zipper? All we have to do is just take it out. That's it, okay? And then we're gonna turn it inside out completely. And now we're gonna use this again and we're gonna finish this part, okay? This thing I'm worried because it lost the cover. I think this is done after today because I noticed it went through the stitching. So I think this is, you see this coating, it has a blue coating in here. I don't know if you can see it. It poked through the blue coating and this now it's become a sharp corner and I don't like that for turning because it could rip the fabric. So once I use it today, it's gonna be bye-bye to the trash can. Okay. All right, so this is done. Bye-bye to the trash can with this. And then I'm gonna finish it with this one right here. And I think I'm done, it's pretty good. Okay, so guys, this is the inside, nice and neat, you see? You cannot even see the invisible stitching that I did or the stitching that I did, barely see it. I know where it is because I did it, but you cannot see it. And then you see how the elastic came to the front, it goes to the back, okay? And then you zip it up. And this is my label right here, okay? Could have done it a little bit higher, you know, this is a little bit more sticking out, but that's okay. And then you're gonna go ahead and do the ironing, guys. Remember I told you the ironing is most to do when you sew. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna press it. Again, making sure that you don't spend too much time on the plastic part because it is plastic, you don't want to do this. You can mess up the zipper. I'm using some steaming here. On the side where the bulk part is. Mess it up here. Finish this part. Oh, this is hard, people. That steam comes out hard. This is my Olizo Mini. Very, very nice. Easy to use. You can use any iron. You can use any iron. Okay. All right. Ta-da! This is the pouch. And this is the notebook that I have in here. See? You can use it for a notebook. As a bookmark, if you have a page, you want to bookmark it. Put your stuff in here. All right. So I'll see you in a little bit, guys. So guys, what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complete the other pouches, personalizations, and I'm going to show you how to embroider them using my Brother embroidery machine. It's the Innovis NQ 1700E, and I'm going to be using a 4x4 hoop and sticky stabilizer. All right, guys, so I have this first pouch that I'm going to personalize. Okay. All right. So I'm going to trace it. And this is the 4x4 hoop. So it's already traced. I use this printout from Embrilliance so that I can center my design and have an idea what I wanted. And I think that's pretty much what I wanted it. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go embroidery. So we are ready to start. And like you notice on the screen, it's only one color. Press start and start embroidering. And this is the way that I'm going to embroider the other two that I'm going to personalize. And just like that, this is completed, guys. All right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull you back on the camera. It says finish embroider. I'm going to say okay. It was pretty easy, isn't it? It didn't take long. And this is the result. LKG. I am here with all the pouches already completed, and I wanted to show you how to use this. For example, the ones that I did are the 4 inches right here. This one, I did it using the 3-inch template size as opposed to the 4. And look at how cute it came out. I personalized it already, and these already have owners that I need to ship it to. I'm sure they're gonna like it a lot. It's a surprise gift. It's for my grandkids, okay? My grandkids are gonna love them. So yeah, I decided to do a smaller one for the youngest one of my grandkids, and it's a 3-inch and it's a perfect size. I use the same length of elastic, 10 inches, but I did it narrower, 3 inches. And this is the lining of it right here. And so that you know the capacity that this has, it has a lot of room for anything that you want to do when you go to coloring pencils or pens or pencils. It is only 4 pens, and look all the room that I have left, so you can use it all right? It will fit the notebook, okay? Perfect right here, all right? And yeah, so when it comes to the big one, all right, I'm gonna use this example of the one that I did with you guys. It fits a lot of stuff, either bigger than this. Look at the size inside. And I'm gonna go ahead and I love this one. I love this one. This is gonna be mine too, guys. I'm gonna, believe me, I already have a use for it, for both of these. These are both are mine. This one, I decided not to put an elastic on it so that you have an idea on how many things you can do with this project. You don't have to necessarily use it for a pencil pouch or whatever. You can use it for your own purposes. Like in my case, I decided to make this one and I'm gonna use it for my crochet hooks right here. This is a set that I have and I'm gonna place it right here so that you know the amount of hooks, if you're a crocheter, that you can place in here. So you can use it for a lot of things, guys, not only pencils and pens or back to school, okay? All right, so another use that I'm gonna give it, this one is for my Bible right here. Sometimes I am doing reading and I have to place my pen, my marker. I use a light color marker right here inside this thing, and sometimes it's hard to keep it in here, to close in the zipper. So I plan to put all my markers in here, different colors. I use light yellow for the most part and light blue for different parts of the verses of the Bible, but all I have to do is just put it here. When the Bible is closed, I can either keep it here because this 10-inch elastic will fit it. It will fit the Bible. This is a big Bible, guys, okay? And I can use it for my reading, or I can use it as a bookmark when I'm done with a part of the Bible and I want to remember which page I was reading, or just to use it as a bookmark. I open the Bible up, choose the page that I was reading, and it's a bookmark, guys. And the next time that I go back to my reading of the Bible, I already have it marked where I left, okay? I've been using these little tabs in here to mark, but this is a perfect idea right here, okay? So guys, yeah, so I am loving it. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna clear the table and I'll be right back. Guys, we are done with this project and I hope you have as much fun as I did making them. They are so easy to make. I will see you soon with new content. If you have any questions about the whole process, please let me know down below. I will see you soon. I will see you later. Bye. Hasta luego.